Indonesia. Hello. It's the 40 show. That's right.
40s.
We'll be back. Good morning. We are waffling.
Come on, Lauren.
Already.
Come on.
We are waffling. Here we are. Okay, well, here we are. It's the show. Will's not here, so it seems weird. I hope his toe is okay.
Yes.
He has a toe situation. Other than that, I'm going to call this the 40-year-old show
It's that 40s show.
because everybody sitting here is 40.
Yeah.
And I think we have things to say as 40-years-olds.
So
We
much
should
older
have.
and wiser than we were a year ago.
So much older and wiser. Okay, well, Ben, reintroduce yourself quickly again because, people who didn't tune in last week may be like, who's this guy?
Yeah. Ben Walsh. I have a software company in Springfield and glad to be here. Excited to get into whatever we're going to get into. My wife was like, what did they talk about on the show? I was like, I have no idea.
Generally nothing.
I was on it for 45 minutes and have no clue. Yeah.
So hopefully we're here for entertainment.
It should be entertaining.
Yeah.
And then Emma is a regular guest of ours, and she's back
love
and beautiful
coming
as
in.
always. Yes.
I don't know about that. I washed my face before I left the farm this morning.
That's a good step.
Yes.
That's a good step.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did the introduction thing because, people check in. They'll be like, oh,
What's happening?
Will had some work done. Look
Will,
at him.
Will, yeah. It was cosmetic. No, it wasn't. Will's like, please
That
stop
toe
talking.
is so much prettier than it was.
Oh, man. I'm sure Will's watching in his stupor.
He isn't anymore.
Oh no,
my
I'm never
gosh.
leaving them alone again.
Okay.
I had some really fun stuff I was going to share today.
Did you?
Yes.
You can still share it.
Well-
Ben's fun. That's been my general take.
But
on
I
him.
don't have my
Short
wonderful
time I've known him.
visual aids is what makes a story.
Is what makes
And
the
I
story.
was
Okay.
really working on it. I had an Apple presentation I was going to do. Have you ever done a science project and it didn't go right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it
several
didn't-
times.
It didn't pan out. It's not that I was proved wrong. It just I found extra circumstances in my house, and I'm like, well, that ruined my
That
science.
messed up my plan.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't have any visual aids.
So I'm lost. What specifically were you going to do?
Well, so as the local farmer, I love
Okay.
to talk about food
Yes.
from its origin standpoint. And recently at the grocery store, I picked up some Cosmic Crisp apples, which are a genetically engineered variety of apple.
Or
I like where
Cosmic
this is
Crisp,
going.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I was going to show how that helps and what difference
Genetic
that is
engineering is helpful.
than like the old school apples and the
Okay.
difference that you
Oh, the
see.
difference is. Oh, well, I kind of know.
And
where that's
then
going.
we could eat
Yeah.
them
We had
and
an apple tree.
show that we were
Didn't
just
explode.
fine. Yeah.
So what went wrong?
Gnats.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
no,
Okay.
those
Yeah,
pesky
yeah.
varmints.
Ah.
You know, hot. I don't know. It just didn't work out. So
stinking
it didn't. Wasn't
Tell
the
you what.
visual.
It's always
Wasn't
a
the
gnat, the
visual I
problem.
was hoping for.
Good morning, Beth. Yeah, gnats will ruin your day.
They will.
When they
So
get
I
in your
didn't
house,
get
you just can't. They're just turkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
like 'em.
follow-up food news.
Okay.
So I was here about 30 days ago. It's kind of magical.
Can't believe it's been 30 days
I know,
ago.
right? And in that whole time, we have sold flowers. We have had Mother's Day.
Oh, yes.
We've gotten over that
We've moved on from
and
Mother's
moved
Day.
on. But when I was here last time, I was talking about the bird flu.
Oh,
and
yes.
the milk.
Yeah. Yes.
Remember?
I remember this.
Okay, so still a thing. Still
It's happening.
Still, your milk is safe.
That's good to know because I had
Okay.
some this morning
It is.
with some
Milk is
Cheerios,
still
which
safe.
apparently are toxic too.
Pasteurized milk, kills those virus cells if they're there.
Huh.
Completely
So
safe.
what if you're not pasteurizing your milk?
If
Should we
you are
be
not
worried?
pasteurizing your milk, you should do that with the side of caution.
Yeah. To each their own, right?
That's right.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
going to tell you can't do it because I raised a lot of barn
nice
cats and on non-pasteurized milk, and a lot of kids grew up on non-pasteurized milk.
There's a lot of opinions about our food industry. There's no
Yes.
doubt about that.
Yes.
And I think we are all, in general, as parents, the three of us are parents, we're trying to raise our kids as healthy as we can,
Yeah.
right? And there is a lot of debate about things in the food. And I in general think that there's more stuff in our food than there should be. In general, just ingredients.
Well,
and
what
things.
you've got in your food is preservatives and things
Yeah.
that make it shelf stable or have a
Yeah.
shelf life, because that is what the American populace demanded
That's
over
what
the
we've
last
demanded,
50
yes.
years.
And we, for some reason, demanded things to be ultra red and blue and strained.
Well, because we eat with our eyes.
yeah. And I mean, it's like,
Committee-driven.
I'd still eat a Dorito if it wasn't red. I'm just going to throw that
100%.
out there.
The taste.
They're delicious.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
eat
I don't
them.
know. I mean, would you eat them if they were green?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. I'd eat a
But
green
what if
Dorito.
you didn't know it tasted like a Dorito?
Well, I mean, if I never knew it tasted like a Dorito, that would depend on the situation. But I mean, if just someone's like, you know what, I think we're going to take red out of Doritos, I'd be like, okay, I'll still eat them. That's my general thought.
Yeah.
But I think we all think like, okay, there's practices and things that maybe aren't what we would ideally have, but we're also trying to feed. How many people live in the U.S.?
330 million, the last I checked.
Okay, and
Yeah.
there's 7 billion people on the planet.
12 months out of the year,
12 months
Yeah.
out of the year, 3 days, 3 meals a day.
from
So, yeah,
coast to coast.
That's not easy.
Yeah.
No, that's not easy. So, but there's a lot of and there's a lot of people who get very into certain ideas and they have trouble deviating from those on that. But I think that's kind of a to each their own thing. You
Yep.
know, right? Like you
The-
do what makes you comfortable.
Yeah. Emma, is there science that you've looked at behind that whole idea that people, have you read any books on that subject of like people voting or eating based on what things look like?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Totally. We eat what is visual. We eat what feels good on our tongue. That's why kids don't want vegetables.
I agree with that.
Well,
They get used
That's a
to
fact.
Same
the
reason I-
feel of grains and stuff on their tongue.
but and it goes as far as color as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep,
Yeah.
very much science, but a lot of the things that we see, it is very interesting. It's just like any other vein of life. With our food, people are starting to ask questions. Well, why did
Yeah.
we do this, and why does it have
Yep.
to be this way? Well, because the government and the people needed to feed a lot of people. They needed it to
Yeah.
be, we had to meet these benchmarks, and we asked for this. Well, this is just the results of asking.
The demand.
Yeah, of the
general
demand. And
yeah.
that's true in any other vein of life.
Yeah.
The real estate market or the
Yeah.
software
Yeah.
market, they're going to create a product that is in demand.
That is
because
in
that's
demand.
what
Yeah.
the
In
people
my
are looking
case, it's
for.
not necessarily people asking for my product. It's me delivering a product that people want.
That you're like, I think
Yeah.
people need
yeah.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
And, they wouldn't necessarily come
But
up
you
with it on
wouldn't
their own.
you wouldn't keep
Yeah.
making it if they didn't
Right.
snatch it
100%.
right up.
Right.
Yeah.
The consumer, and I think partly is because the consumer's not necessarily educated on the side effects.
I agree with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. And I think that now we've hit this whole inflation thing for the past couple of years, right? And which has been part of inflation is not new. This has been around, but we've had, I don't know if it's categorized as hyperinflation, probably not hyperinflation, but so that's affecting how they make food too, right? Mm-hmm. But the good thing is you have local options. That's one thing nice about living where we live. There are people who, Missouri is a top 5 beef cattle producer.
Oh,
so
dude, we are like 2 or 3.
yeah, it bounces around. I don't think a lot of people understand that people, in my mind, they move to the Ozarks often, and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to homestead. And I'm like, It's hard to garden here.
Yeah.
It's not so hard to raise cattle here. It may be hard to make money raising cattle here, but it's not so hard. It's pretty easy to keep a beef cow alive in the state of Missouri.
You know how authenticity is very important to me.
Yes.
Okay, let's go down to our roots. Let's be authentic.
I,
shall we?
I have to.
Let's be authentic.
Yeah.
I have no
Stop the
problem
pretending.
admitting
Straighten us out.
to our garden outpost customers that Emma can't grow a garden.
Or
Emma's
can't grow a garden either.
People are like, "Don't you sell garden plant?" Yeah, I do. I can tell you how to do it, but
Do I do it myself?
Good luck.
Absolutely not.
good
No.
luck. I have lived in a very small number of places where there was enough topsoil to make it happen. At our current farm down on Coppertop Legacy, we have done everything. We have tried buckets.
We've done everything.
We have tried raised beds. We have tried building our own soil, and we just, I don't know, there's some kind of anti-gardening bubble down there, and everyone should try it. Yeah. But, man, it's a challenge. Gardening is a gamble every year. But, yeah, keeping that cow across the street.
You can do that.
She does pretty well.
Now, the goat, not so much, but the cow, we have conversations about goats.
Oh.
But, yeah, do you guys have a garden?
We have a garden.
Okay.
Mary is an amazing gardener.
That's good, because some people have the knack for it, 100%.
Yeah. She's got flowers, vegetables, and a lot of it, to your point, Emma, on the soil is bringing in, compost and bringing in mushroom compost and manure and
the whole
dirt and
yes,
mixing it all together.
The Ozarks is just, I mean, it is what it is, right? And most of the good places are covered up or owned by other people.
Yeah.
You know,
covered up by what? Sorry.
Houses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
streets,
Gotcha.
things
Yeah,
like that.
right.
Lauren, this is kind of in your vein, you know.
Okay, what I do,
like,
here we go.
When I lived at home, we had this nice flat spot, a little bit of black dirt, just enough to grow a garden, you know.
Yeah.
But since Emma became an adult in the last 20 years and we finally purchased property, kind of what's left is the Razorbacks. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 teaspoons of dirt and 6 rocks.
Yeah.
And that's where I live because that was what was available for sale.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, I mean, it is. It's tricky. I think a lot of people, move here with the idea that they can homestead here. That's not so easy. You can absolutely have a garden and 100% supplement your family. Are you going to feed your family solely off of what you've grown in your garden in Missouri, this part of Missouri? It's pretty tricky.
Yeah, you'd
if
have
you
quite the garden.
You'd have quite the garden.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be
mostly
a
not
thing.
because you're not used to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know how wheat does here. And of course, wheat is what it takes to make bread.
Yeah.
So, and I know I don't see too many wheat fields.
Well, you don't see too many wheat
Golden
fields
City.
because we don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
the
it's wheat out
large
there.
spaces of. I mean, we don't have tracks that make
Yeah.
it advantageous.
Row
to
cropping
grow.
type
yeah,
stuff.
we don't do that
We
here.
don't really do that here.
Because all of our
down the boot hill.
pieces are smaller, and there's just not
Yeah,
there's not profit in that.
No.
And nobody's grinding their own flour
No.
because we have. Integrated that system and made it so easy to go to your local Apple Market.
Buy a
and
bag of flour.
So do you sell anything that you grow, Emma?
I sure do because
Okay.
we have cows and
Okay.
pigs and
Okay.
goats.
So that's where the money is in the meat.
There is no money.
That's where they try to make the money.
That is where there is
Trying to make-
exchange of
Yeah.
dollars. No.
Yeah.
No, we really
That's
do.
hilarious.
We
There's no money.
we call it custom
Yep.
sales, right? So I can sell you a cow, I can
Yeah.
sell you a pig.
Sell me a cow, will you?
I would love to sell you a cow, and then we haul it to the butcher plant for you.
Okay.
You
Yep.
tell them how thick you want your steaks.
Yep.
You purchase the cow from me, you pay the locker plant for their services, and then you take it home and put it in your freezer, and it's super convenient because you don't have to run to the store. Lauren, tell them about pork and how wonderful
Emma's
it is.
got the best pork.
Wow.
And our
go.
good friends the Westerlings are raising some pretty good pork too. It's Mangalitsa. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, okay.
But I've been
What is
buying it's a hairy, fatty pig. And it tastes delicious. But I've been buying what type of pig is it? What that I buy from you? I don't even have any idea. I just trust
Heinz
you.
57.
There you go. I like it. It's a mixed breed of the elusive copper top.
So it's got some heritage breeds in it.
Okay.
And then our secret is that we are not a commercial operation.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Jimmy Dean gets his pork from.
I like Jimmy Dean sausage. I'm not gonna lie.
Pigs that are on concrete, under roof. They're safe. They're healthy, and they are being mass produced to feed a growing population.
Absolutely.
Down at our place, we're growing about 20 hogs a year. They get snacks that they appreciate. They get a high-protein diet, and it takes a little longer. You've got a pig in commercial production that's growing from, it leaves its mom to the time it's ready to eat is 6 months. That's a really short amount of time.
That's a pretty short amount of time. Yeah.
Wow.
Mine are going to take 8 to 12, and that slower growth and the very diet, you're going to see more of the flavorfulness that Lauren is such a fan of.
Delicious. Her pork is it's very good. It's a different deal. It does. It tastes like, and in general, pork is not one of those things at the grocery store to me that there's a lot of varying flavor. Like when you get a rack of ribs or you get a pork steak or it tastes like pork. And it's really pretty well packaged the same. I can see the package in my head. I don't even know what brand it is. It's got green and white on it, and it's in most of the grocery stores.
See, you are visually shopping yet
I'm
again.
Visually shopping yet again, yes. And
you just have a visual memory.
I do, yes. And so I definitely have a visual memory. So, but I've now haven't bought that stuff very often. It still is best for if you're doing large amounts of pulled pork, right? Mm-hmm. Because a pig that I get from Emma, the cuts are different sizes than a pig that you're going to get from the grocery store. If you want large pork butts and you're feeding masses, it's tricky to do that, right? And then, but Emma's is delicious. And in fact, I made eggs Benedict with some of your jowl. Jowl the other day, and it was amazing.
Wow.
It really was.
Interesting.
It was epic.
Ben, tell us about your favorite foods.
What is your favorite foods, Ben?
Well, pork. No,
Prairie Farms, that's the brand. Beth,
there we go.
right.
Okay, at Prairie Farms. Thanks, Beth.
So what is your favorite foods?
Oh, wow. So varied. My mom was just asking me that a couple weeks ago.
You sure do you have an answer then?
What's your favorite food that I make? Well, she makes amazing enchiladas and
that sounds good.
Pepper steak,
Just the good old classics.
Yeah, I know. I don't necessarily have that thing that just jumps out. Sushi's really amazing. Anybody like sushi?
I like sushi.
Yeah.
I do.
We do not grow sushi in the Ozarks.
That's weird. I would thought that you have a sushi plant.
Yeah. The funny thing is about it, when I was a kid, sushi sounded kind of repulsive because it was like raw fish.
It's a funny little word.
Yeah.
And it's a funny word, yeah.
But then when you start eating it, you're like, wow, this is really
fine.
good.
Yeah, this is totally fine.
It's more a mental thing.
It is really more a mental thing. I do enjoy sushi as well. It's good stuff.
Oh, fish. Yeah, fish and
all that stuff.
The bounty of the sea is delightful.
I will say I don't eat much of the bounty of the sea because I do acknowledge that we are in Missouri, and I often am like, I don't know.
If it's not fresh,
I don't know.
Tastes different.
Yeah.
So we're going to get sushi on Friday or Saturday.
That's fun.
Celebrate my birthday with some sushi with the kids.
There you go.
Yeah, the
Very
boys
nice.
love it. So.
That's good that your boys love it. That's fun. That's very fun. My kids are like, I tasted it. I'm not a fan. Your kids eat it?
My boys will eat seaweed out of the pack.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
And they love it.
So my oldest he will eat anything.
Papers,
He loves everything. He'll try anything once.
Yeah.
The youngest, we went to, what is it? Sakura.
Yeah.
Great family spot to sit down and have those dishes, right? He had noodles. And he's a noodle fan. Like, he's going to turn into a noodle. So now he regularly, not frequently, but regularly asks for sushi. And I think what he really wants is to go eat noodles.
Yeah.
Good. We went to get sushi, and we got noodles. So that's what it is.
Isn't it amazing the things that your kids get at a restaurant? They're like, we went to this exotic restaurant, and they had chicken nuggets. I'll eat anything. I'll try anything. My kids are not nearly as adventurous as I am.
What age range do you have?
Currently, they are 8 and 9.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Right in that picky spot sometimes.
Well, I mean, one of them was born so picky that I stopped trying to force her to eat things after an incident in a hotel room that was a low point in my life as a mother and probably a, core memory for her that I will never force that child to try a bite of anything again. Because it was rejected, and that's not what you want to deal with in a hotel room. And so, but they're picky, but I'm not. But I still take them to the places.
Yeah.
I think sometimes as parents, we get, my kid may not like sushi, so we're not going to go there. You know what?
No,
they don't get to have an opinion.
There you go.
Take them.
Take a bite.
Take them to the different, unique restaurant. Expose them to the different items. Expose them to the culture. Let them try things. You don't have to take them to, like, Pizza Ranch or McDonald's every day.
At the very least, they're going to learn how to behave in those environments.
Absolutely.
There you go.
What age do you have?
10 to 2. So I got 4 boys.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay.
It's a herd of boys.
Like twice too many for any sane person.
And has 2 boys, so she knows.
What's your age range, Emma?
I have a 15 and a 10.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we could be having a lot of fun, but
We could be
But
having
what?
fun, but
Yeah.
we still have a lot of fights.
Yeah.
That's life.
When does that develop? I'm told like
the fighting
The fighting?
is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just any
Coming.
minute if you got
Yeah,
10-year-old.
you're getting close. You're getting
Yeah.
close.
have some opinions. Yeah.
Yes.
They'll start fighting
No,
with each other.
so food stories and teaching kids to like food, I think there's a lot of things that goes into that, and it does. It sticks with them long time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I also think that things that are out of our control affect that. So my oldest, he eats everything, right? Mm-hmm. But he went through this very short stint where he didn't like mushrooms and onions, and I am convinced it is only because he heard someone who he looked up to say that he didn't care for onions. So we went through
Yeah.
this short
Yes.
spell
Yeah, peer
where,
pressure.
well, I don't like onions. I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't even know. And now he's like the human garbage disposal. My youngest doesn't like peas, he thinks.
Well, I
same
mean,
Yeah.
same
you know,
problem.
they're edible.
Same problem. He's heard somebody say that they don't like them.
There's a lot of people who say they don't like
He's
peas.
also he won't do beans. And we're like, how do you even know?
Yeah.
Because there's so
Yeah.
many different types.
There's a lot of different types of
There
beans.
was one time that I tried. I made chili or something. And I told him, he's like, you put beans in it. I'm like, those aren't beans, they're seeds.
What was this? Like, it's like,
So he tried some mouthfuls, and he just couldn't get his heart into it. And he was in a particularly,
was he in a mood?
he was in a good mood. He
Okay.
was trying to be sweet about it. And he said, Mom, I just can't eat any more of these beans. I mean, seeds.
They're seeds.
All right, Mom. If they're seeds,
I mean,
I
that's
guess.
not wrong.
Yeah.
So-
But I was trying to, bat for the fence there. So
It didn't
I'm
go.
waiting for the moment that he wakes up and just. He went to a bonfire one night. My girlfriend Carrie made chili, and it was dark.
I got a chili
No.
story to tell
So
you guys.
he
Glad to hear a
ate.
chili story.
So he ate Carrie's chili, and he told us how wonderful it was. And Mark said, "Well, Carrie makes her chili with moose meat, which is very unique."
I've never had moose.
And he said,
That
"But
elk.
Mom, Carrie doesn't put beans in her chili." And like Lucas is laughing all over himself. He's
Yeah.
like, "There was so beans in that chili.
there was all the beans in that
It
chili.
was just dark, and Travis couldn't see them."
So he does not eat with his eyes. He is not a visual eater. He prefers to be blindfolded.
Right. That's
Okay,
my
everybody's got a
middle
chili
child.
story.
Yep,
What is your
here's
chili
Ben's
story?
chili story.
Well, my wife's an amazing cook. We'll preface it with that. She had. We were having a family get together, so we're going camping. The whole family's getting together at Stockton Lake, and so she's bringing chili. Well, the day before, she had this huge pot of beans, and it was getting ready. And I think she was working with our nanny, was doing some, helping with the meal, or whatever. And anyway, these beans got left out for maybe an hour or so, and then they ended up going in the fridge, and it was a huge stock pot. Well, they didn't cool fast enough.
Uh-oh.
Well, nobody knew this, so the chili gets
Uh-oh.
made, and it's delicious going down. And so, yeah, everyone eats.
Oh,
we leave the
no.
campsite. We're not staying there that night.
Oh, no.
And then about 2 a.m, I wake up, and I'm like, man, I got to go. So I'm making a beeline. So I'm on the toilet for a couple of hours.
Oh, no.
Not the vomiting kind,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, then the next day, I was like, it's so weird. Like, we all got sick. And they're on a
Oh,
campsite,
no.
so all of the and it was funny how it came out because somebody's like going to the bathroom at 1 a.m. They meet somebody else coming back from the bathroom.
You?
Yeah,
Me? Us? What? Yeah.
Every bathroom in the whole place is full. Anyway, it ended up being where the beans had soured, and there was all kinds of jokes afterwards. The next day, after people discovered, because the 2 people that didn't eat it.
We're fine.
We're fine?
That's how.
Yeah.
Those were the common denominators. Oh my
So
gosh.
we're
would
like,
just
we're
like
gonna host
to,
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So your
For
wife
all of you
poisoned
having your-
everybody.
Accidentally. She
Accidental
felt terrible,
poisoning.
but it was hilarious hearing everybody talk about it afterwards, though.
Oh my
was like,
gosh.
yeah.
That is that's about worst case scenario.
Yeah, sitting around the
Upset tummy
campfire.
at the
Oh, man.
campsite. That's no good. I feel like people have been poisoned at campsites plenty of times though. That just seems like, you're like, "Oh, I can bring that package of hot dogs. It's fine."
Yeah, right. We'll cook it
Can
around.
you?
The stuff doesn't
Oh
necessarily
my
get because the stuff
gosh.
never really gets hot either on a campfire. A lot of times, it just
No,
gets burnt,
it doesn't. It
it's-
just gets burnt. Yeah, because we are not.
So the outside gets cooked and the inside still, Yeah.
Oh, no.
We'd just like to say you're welcome to all 6 people that are listening to this morning's show.
Next, we'll talk about
Oh, my God.
where's the viewer count?
Oh, and that's something you never. We're at four solid viewers right now. There could be more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Crowd swells.
The girls.
Peter's like, and it just kept going.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Next thing you know, we're down to 3. Do something
We're
different.
at 7. We're at 7. It's spiked up. They're like, oh, the bean story's over. Let's move on from that. That is something you never live down, though, as like throughout the family.
Yeah, I know.
it's
Well, and then we're going to
permanently
host Thanksgiving. We're like, and we'll have plenty of Porta Johns outside. No worries. We're prepared.
We can now move from lemons to lemonade.
Yeah.
Are you really a family if you haven't poisoned each other? My mom, I notoriously, my mom is a wonderful cook. She is, she can be a housekeeper. She chooses not to focus on that. Sorry, Mom.
Amen, Vicky.
Hey, we love her. And her fridge is kind of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. And I'm like, Mom, what is going on with your fridge? And she's like, have I ever poisoned you? And I'm like, not that I know of. I really am not
You
aware.
have a
I
heart
haven't
constitution.
tried.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, no.
Well, let's segue with some camping. So, got any other camping
It's
activities?
the worst. I don't know.
Have you guys seen
Looking-
Jim Gaffigan's
looking
routine on
forward to
camping?
some-
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Jim
where
Gaffigan's
he was like,
hilarious.
yeah, we all used to live outside before we came up with a thing called a house.
I'm not much of a camper. I'll say
I
that.
love
Yeah,
camping.
no
It's pretty
camping
fun.
trips for the
I-
summer?
No.
I've got
This
more
is the
camping
experiences
stories.
that you need.
More reasons not to camp. Yeah.
You know, that's how you're supposed to write good Facebook posts. Here's 5 reasons not
Yes,
to camp.
right, yeah. And I have illustrations for everyone. At what age will we take the kids camping? Well, we went camping, and my wife and I were like, this will be so fun. We'll take the boys. And so we unpack everything, and we were all prepared, too. Like, we've got the... the blow-up mattresses, air mattresses, the nice campfire. So everything was great up until the point where we need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Amazing time around the campfire.
Yes.
Now let's set up the tent, which was fine. But
Yeah.
we have this tent that has these, all the vents. You have like the tents with the screened roofs, where you
Yeah.
can see the stars or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's the premise until you get dew on your, camp or in the middle of the night.
Until you
Yeah, right.
wake up with a dewy face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
That's
put
why you use
yeah.
the rain fly.
Camping is always moist. I'm just
And it was
going to
get cold. Yeah, right. I'll get wet with something. Well, we needed this thing to be warmer, so I bought this insulated tent. High, good reviews on Amazon, which is kind of a joke,
Yeah.
all these people are like, yeah, I unpacked it. It looked pretty good. Like, have you used the thing yet?
Yeah. I received it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
The shipping was amazing. Yeah, 5 stars. Well, unbox that thing, go camping in it, and let me know then how you feel about it. Anyway, nobody had done that apparently, because we get this thing, get it all set up, blow it up, and it was one of these 0 support pieces. It was like completely air holding the thing
Okay,
together, so you
yeah.
need to blow it up. So I have the little air pump. Well, it doesn't have enough pressure naturally to blow this thing up to actually hold up. So
Yeah.
I'm fighting with it, and I look at it, and I'm like, this. Go up to 7 PSI. I'm like, well, this pump is not going to even get up to 1 PSI. So we're going to Walmart, get a pump, come back. Anyway, all that said, we get this thing all put together. My wife and I, there wasn't enough room in the insulated camp part, except for the kids, keep them warm, because it gets down to like 30 degrees.
Oh, yeah. It's chilly. Yeah.
Sleeping bags and all the rest. We packed them all in there. Eventually get them all sleeping.
Yes.
We get our air mattress set up.
Yeah.
And I hear this like rip in the middle of the night. And like this thing, one of the pieces that holds the thing, one of the fins through the middle, it blew up. And then it just became this like giant sausage on the one side. Throws me on my wife's side of the thing. So I'm like, well, this isn't very comfortable. Well, let's try to figure a position, that would work.
Yeah.
And then we hear another one. The stupid air mattress starts exploding. So about 2 in the morning, I'm like, one more like shenanigan, and we're just gonna pack up.
Shenanigan, and we're going up.
Yeah, and then one of my kids started crying, the baby, and I was like, all right, let's just.
We're done.
3 in the morning, I packed the whole thing, threw it all in the vehicle.
Was it like a rage pack? Were you mad about it? Or
No,
were you
it
still
was
pretty
actually
cool?
kind of
You're just
humorous.
like, this is funny.
Yeah,
we're done.
I mean, this is a good story to tell. I try not to turn those events into rage.
Yeah.
Because like it's still a memory.
Oh, it is a memory. Yeah. 100%.
Assuming there's not rage as the memory.
Yeah.
And then there was a time Dad got mad.
Way to forward think there.
Beth, our loyalist viewer on the planet,
I had a good
says she
example, my
loves
dad.
camping and cooking over the campfire. I do love the.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I love the sitting, the fire, the cooking,
Yes.
the bedtime camping. That's when
That's where you go to the hotel.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I don't like sleeping outside. I don't want to do it.
The children like it. Like I
haven't
don't know
tried
that
with
they
mine.
I don't know that they like any of the actions, but they like the overall 30,000-foot view of what's going on.
Yeah.
We are anxiously anticipating the end of this summer. We go each year. We've been doing that for about 20 or so, down to the North Fork of the White River, and we do stream team.
That's God's country down there.
Stream
I love
team
it. It's
cleanup.
very pretty.
We got started on that as a 4-H project with my
You do
old
what? Stream
team.
Oh, stream team?
Stream team cleanup.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
Taking litter out of the river.
there
you
go.
get in a boat
Okay.
and you float
Walk
down
us through
river
it.
and attempt to pick up trash without turning your own boat over and redistributing
Roll
said
the dice.
trash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
The
adding new
kids-
trash or
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
kids think it's great. They just love the
That's super
adventure. They
cool.
love
Stream
the
team thing is cool.
challenge.
Huh. Yeah.
And so that has become our camping adventure.
What a great adventure.
It's the sleeping on the ground at age 40 that
Gross.
we have really would like to give up.
That's definitely a 40-something thing. We don't want to sleep on the
Yeah.
ground anymore.
yeah.
It's not it's the getting down and the getting back up. It's just not fun.
It's ew. Every
But-
part of it ew. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
So our
There's
big
always
we
that
have
one
taken
rock
friends
somewhere.
like every year we try to encourage other friends and family to do good. You know, hey, not only are we going to go floating, but we're going to do this really awesome thing and we want to kind of set an example and share, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had taken one particular family member one year.
Who will remain nameless?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I thought it'd be rude to call him out, but
Nah, he knows.
we
He
went.
knows who he is.
And maybe it might not have been Stream Team. It may have been some other celebratory floating something. But anyway, there was a raccoon
They're so
that
shifty.
came to check things out,
Mm.
check the cooler lids and whatnot. And so when we woke, there was a commotion in the night. And
Stinking raccoons.
I don't think they made off with anything, but the first thing the very next morning, Mark rolls over to me and he's like, hey, I got a text message from the guy in the next tent.
Yeah.
The text message said, hey, I think there's a raccoon in our camp. Mark's like, what was I supposed to do about that at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, get up and go outside and be like, do you need anything?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Hiss at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a tree stump down there that has been there for several years. It might have left in the last flood, but there was
There's been plenty of floods.
there
Yes,
was a
lots of water.
handful of years that I would get up first. That's what I do. I'm always first.
What time is this?
5
Five, there you
daylight.
go.
Yeah.
First bird chirp.
And I would look through the fog by the river's side, and I would be convinced that that stump was a bear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
like, Mark, I
Yeah.
think that there is a
This
bear
is it.
over
This is
here.
the bear.
What's it doing? And he's like, it's a tree stump.
Well, that
So-
bear is just really not going anywhere.
That was like, 2015, and lo and behold, 2016, I said, Mark, I think it's a bear. He's like, no, it's
Same
It's
stuff.
that
still,
same tree stump.
still a tree stump.
Isn't that fun?
We went camping as a family one time, and my mom is, the very cautious, doesn't like camping, but she's going
Yeah.
to be there, support the experience. But
Oh, yeah.
she's nervous of all the things can happen. And my
'Cause
mom
there's
took really good care
there was
of us, too.
11 kids,
11
right?
kids. That's
Oh,
why you got
my.
a good memory.
11.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So there's a lot to look
Oh,
after
you don't
there.
forget something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
That
That
sticks
is-
with you.
I will
that kind
always.
of stuff.
I may
Yeah.
I'm
forget
not
your
sure
name.
you ever
Be
get
98 years old. 11 of them there was. I remember that.
Yeah, back in the day, I met this quack job that came along. But anyway, my mom tells my dad in the middle of the night, I'm sorry, she's hearing this bear. She's thinking like shuffling around outside
Yeah,
the campsite.
yeah.
So, and she's listening intently, and we're in this pop-up camper, which is not exactly a lot of protection from bears. And she's listening, and eventually she's like, she's gonna wake my dad up. And she goes over to wake him up, and she realizes it's him snoring. It sounds like a bear growling right outside the tent. So she, her heart's racing and everything. Like, wake up! Oh, it's you.
It's you. You're gonna go back to sleep, or don't go back to sleep so I can sleep.
Yeah.
So
Let's take shifts.
I went on an incredible. I feel like I went on an amazing camping experience one time, and that was enough for me. It cannot be topped. I went with my in-laws. This was right before we got married. So it's like 20. Oh geez, what year did I get married? 08. Okay, so 08 time frame, and so we went camping in Colorado. Like we went into Wyoming and we dropped down to Colorado, and we were on a tree-covered mountain, so we weren't, whatever altitude that is, and it was amazing. The weather was perfect. It was summertime. We had our campsite, and they camped out there every year for a long time. So they were very familiar with the area, and we went, trout fishing in a mountain stream. And I mean, it was ridiculous. It was amazing. But one night I'm laying there, and I don't sleep good anyway. I'm the type of person that doesn't sleep well in hotels. I don't sleep in the car. I don't take naps. I like to sleep in my own bed in the dark, in the cold, with nothing to make me want to stay awake.
If you've ever wondered what's wrong with Lauren, she doesn't sleep.
No, I don't sleep very well. And that is definitely the problem. And so I'm laying there, I'm trying to go to sleep, and everybody's been asleep for a while, and I hear fur against the tent.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, this is where I die. Because, up there's bear and, mountain lions and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And I hear this just across the tent, and I can tell it's a large animal's fur shuffling up against the tent. And I'm like, this is it. This is a bear. Like, holy crap, this is where I get eaten. And, the zipper, the whole idea that a zipper is supposed to protect you, no, it's not. Like, you padlock the zipper, because literally someone could just come open and unzip your tent.
Padlock, cut around the padlock.
Padlock the zip. You can't, there's no safety. There's none. It was a cow.
Oh, it was a cow.
It was a cow. It was apparently in that part of Colorado, they just allow cows to kind of free range and eat in the forest.
There's not a lot of
pasture.
There's not a lot of pasture. So out in the West, ranches and stuff like that, you've got warm season native grasses. They're really high nutrient content.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But there's one here.
And one over there.
One here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so large expanses of land, many
Makes
cattle.
Sense.
In the good seasons, then ranchers have
release them. Yeah.
Agreements with the government where they use common property and they run their cattle maybe more up the side of the mountains because there's things they can forage for up there, and they stay up there, and then they'll go round those cattle up and bring them down into their property or something where they can keep an eye on them in the winter, because you know what happens in the winter.
Yes.
So.
Well, and they don't, it's hard to own 10,000 acres in Colorado or whatever.
Right.
And so, that makes good sense. But it was a cow. Scared the crap out of me. I thought, this is it.
Boy, I would feel at home all of a sudden.
It mooed, and that's what, it literally mooed. I was like, hearing it moo.
Like
right
bovine
there.
steak on your plate cow, right? You're not like moose cow?
No, like a moo cow.
Okay.
It mooed at me, yeah. It's a beef cow. It's just doing that thing. Scared the crap out of me. But no,
That's better than a growl.
Yeah, if it had growled, I'd succumb. I'd just
pass out.
This is where I go.
Yeah.
Because none of us were ready to take on a bear. Like, that just wasn't going to happen. So,
well, I'm pretty sure that contrary to what the movies depict, that
10,000 acres up a hill. That's right. That's right. Up a hill both ways.
The bear don't typically come into the camp thinking, human, that sounds tasty.
They're usually like, marshmallows.
Yeah, I just really don't think that's the way that goes. But I can understand your concern.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to be woke up by any
right?
large hairy thing in the middle. Oh, I'm not going to go that way.
No one's here to curtail Lauren's jokes.
Sorry, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, okay, I feel like we have a couple minutes left here. I feel like we need to impart some 40-year-old wisdom on the world, because how often
we should have come up with this idea.
Because I usually sit between two Gen Xers, older people.
Ballard's old?
Ballard's, he's on sabbatical, so he's not watching. I can say that.
Oh,
I don't know how old he is actually.
He's got to be in his 40s, right?
He's in his 40s.
Yeah, but he's not 40.
He's not 40.
Yeah,
I know that.
That's the golden age.
He's
right
not
there.
40. We know Will's in his 50s. So, as 40-year-olds, I feel like we have a unique perspective on the world, right?
Not too young, not too old.
Not too young, not too old. We're the, the prime of our earning life.
I was thinking not too young, but plenty old.
That might be more true.
I do feel like this is an age where you really start taking the adult roles, not just in your family, like you've been the adult in your family, but like your family. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and in the community.
I mean,
there's some kind of magical passageway that you pass through, and all of a sudden it becomes your turn.
On your 40th birthday, you had this recently. Didn't you? It was like a couple days ago, right?
I had a 40th birthday.
Yes.
That's how you get to be 40.
So you
because you had one too.
Yes. And you're like, here I am. I am now, like you said, in the community, the larger family. Like you might be the person now hosting Thanksgiving with the multiple porta johns, or you might be. You might be the one planning the entire family, reunion or camp out. So as 40-year-olds, what wisdom can we put out to the world?
With experience comes great responsibility. What is that actually?
I don't know.
With somebody, that's somebody else's quote that I just totally hacked, but I can't remember.
That's acceptable.
Yeah,
and I feel like
works.
we have a unique perspective, right? I mean, we are the individuals that grew up before the widespread internet, and we have very much lived through the widespread internet. So we remember the old and the new, and that is generation is ending.
I mean, how do you all describe to your children? I mean, our kids take stuff for granted.
Totally.
I mean, my children, I say, hey, you think this is bad? I said, we only got one pair of rubber boots every 3 years. You put that bread sack on and you get out there. I don't care if there's a hole in it. They don't know. And like the technology of clothes is different when you're talking about outerwear.
Yeah, we didn't have outerwear.
Yeah, I mean, they just hadn't done it. If they had it, we wouldn't have been able to afford it.
No, and nobody had been selling it where I lived.
Yeah, but they just don't understand. Even at their base is so much higher than what we have done.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I'm in the fighting stage, okay?
Cage fighting.
Cage fighting with the children, yeah. They say, why? Because, I don't know, I'm 40 years old, and I have a clue. Am I right
some things.
Am I right all the time? No, but I can tell you that's not the best way to do that.
Yeah.
One of I guess you could call him a mentor, but he's a guy that's probably in his late 50s now. It's not Will. Sorry, Will.
But not Will.
To clarify, it's not Will.
No, Will's a great guy.
He is. We like to tease him.
Yeah, no, Will's a great guy. But he always treated me as a peer.
Yeah.
Even though I was 20 years younger than him.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing to take into the next stage of life with us is how do we not become, because it took so long to get to that rite of passage that you talked about, Lauren, where you get to that status where you feel like you know a few things. How do you not become that crotchety old person that knows everything?
Yeah.
The people around you as well. And I guess just be very relatable. Some of the best relationships I have with people that are older than me, and I learn from them without them teaching me.
Yeah.
In a overt way. They just live their lives, and I think just to be good examples and live our lives the way we should and be a good example to our kids that way, I think it's the best kind of teaching we can give people is just living, be consistent.
Be consistent.
Yeah.
And be open to things. And I get we all get in our we get in our ways, right? And that happens as you get older. You get stuck in your ways, or you get very firm opinions formed. And I'm just kind of the opinion that, everybody's got an interesting story to tell.
Yeah.
Whether you agree, disagree,
believe
don't like, believe it, think it's true, think they're lying, whatever.
Engage, right?
Engage and listen, yeah.
Exactly.
Because I fully believe in the you get more flies with honey than you do vinegar situation.
Well,
I do.
Something that I particularly love about being this much adult.
Keep an open mind and flexible.
Is that things don't bother me in the same ways or for as long as they used to.
Yeah.
Like they may not be right or whatever, but it doesn't. Some things do. We had this talk the other day. I mean, some things still do bother me, but there's other things that would have just, sent me into a tailspin that now I can be like, well, phooey.
Yeah. It kind of rolls off the back a little bit easier. Yeah.
And that's the sign of maturity, not necessarily age, because there's sometimes people get old and they don't mature.
Oh, yeah.
We had a great guy on a podcast, and he said that a lot of people talk about their experience and being like, just because they lived, that they have experience. And he was saying a lot of times, I have 30 years of experience doing this or whatever. And he's a lot of times it's just 1 year of experience that they repeated 30 times. They didn't grow from it. And I thought it was a really great observation.
Yeah, that is a good
observation. The difference between growth and stagnation is actually progressing in the right direction.
That's very, very interesting point. It is. I hadn't thought about that.
I do. I enjoy the growth talk rather than the goal talk because I've never been one that could get things on paper in quantitative figures, especially because, in agriculture, things are so crazy.
Yes.
I mean, if you put goal numbers on paper, you're just kind of setting yourself up for...
You're sealing that's not going to happen.
Disappointment. So I've never been good at that, but I know that I will be able to tell when things are growing, and it's a lot harder to voice that or write that down on paper. But growth, I think, is way more important.
Going in the right direction.
Than meeting, this dot on the map.
I agree
are
with
we
that.
going? Yeah, are we going there?
Learn from
good.
the experience.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we do have some wisdom that we can
we're
embark
learning.
upon the world. All right, well, we've done our time. And Ben, thank you for being a guest.
Glad
for the
to be
past
back.
couple weeks.
Thanks
You're
for having
hoot.
me.
You'll have to come back soon. Emma, as always, you're delightful and fun. And we'll leave the world with some advice from 40-year-olds. I hope it, and camping and what not to do with beans. And we definitely waffled. So, all right, we'll see you next week. I think my brother is the special guest next week.
Oh,
I think
put it on
JR's
the
going to do
calendar.
2 weeks in a row. We'll see how that
Wow.
goes.
Nice.
It'll be fun. All right, and Will, we hope you're feeling good, and we'll talk to you guys later.